What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mongols. This is our Riverhounds and Riveters show. We are extremely grateful this week to be joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Albert Dikwa. Chico, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, guys. I'm doing very good, and I'm happy to be here.
We're happy that you're here. One of the questions we wanted to touch on was obviously in 2023. You got the Golden Boat. You won the Players Shield with the Hounds. Extremely successful. Now you're back again. You have some experience with another club. Why do you think Pittsburgh suits you so well, whereas Rhode Island maybe didn't?
Yeah, it's something that I've been thinking like the last 2 years, and I think the answer is obvious. Pittsburgh is home for me, so like people say, always play good when you feel happy, when you feel loved. So that was the reason maybe I had such a great career here in Pittsburgh. And before that, before coming back, I was like, you know what? There's obviously some other teams like trying to get me, but I was like, Pittsburgh is home, Pittsburgh is home, and that's where I had a success, and that's where I'm happy. So why not going back there?
Did Rhode Island play sort of a different system to Pittsburgh? Is there a particular system that you think suits you better?
Yeah, that was something that was struggling a lot in Rhode Island, was the system, and I was so lucky in Pittsburgh. Like, the system was mostly around me, and going to Rhode Island, you have to adapt with the new system, and it was a new team too. You have to know your teammate. Technically, I was starting over, and it took me a little bit like to get adapted. And yeah, I feel like in Pittsburgh, the system was just like around me, and I was lucky to have like some close friend in Pittsburgh. So that was easy for me too, and yeah.
So question around, like, with Rhode Island, they are a much newer club than the Riverhounds. I mean, Riverhounds are the second oldest club in the league. Rhode Island, when you went there, were the newest club in the league. What do you think, from that perspective, like how they are and like what they were doing, it being a new club and all? What differences do you see between Pittsburgh and, like, maybe Rhode Island was doing something that you thought was better there as far as like just the organization itself? Or do you think that even though Pittsburgh's old, they still are, new tricks?
Yeah, I think like Pittsburgh is, like you say, is one of the oldest team in the league, and in Rhode Island, obviously, they're a new team, and I was really pleased how they treat the players there. The standard was high. The standard was very high. Like, they make sure like to take care of the players. They make sure like you're healthy, and the only thing you have to do is just to play, and that's the good thing that I really enjoyed in Rhode Island. And Pittsburgh is the same thing, Pittsburgh is the same thing. It's all about winning. It's all about winning. Like, there's no shortcut in Pittsburgh. You have to work your ass off, like to find a way to win the game, and that kind of makes that, like, I don't know how to explain it. That kind of thing that I carry with me in Pittsburgh to Rhode Island gave me a little bit success there. So yeah.
Awesome. So Chico, welcome back. I'll say it's good to see you, man. I mean, it's been a couple of years since you've played here. And so a lot has changed in Pittsburgh, right? I mean, I don't know if you were paying attention while you were in Rhode Island, but like the stadium expansion announcements, all of those things. And then Bob reaching the end of his contract and not being there at the end of the season. And Rob Vincent, who, I mean, he wasn't even an assistant coach when you were here last. Now the head coach, right? So you've got a lot of these connections and you know a lot of these guys. But it's a little bit of a different organization. And so can you tell us a little bit about like already like coming back, what you're seeing, what you're thinking, and yeah, kind of like your take on like what it looks like to step into a new version of the Hounds going forwards?
Yeah, it's for me. My job is easy, Steve. To score goals. I have to find a way to put the ball in the net. So yeah, obviously there's a lot of change. There's a lot of change, and I had that opportunity to work with Coach Rob Vincent before. And I remember during every off season I was training with him. Now he's the head coach. He's one of the nicest guys I ever see. And one thing I was telling myself this year, guys, he's gonna take my game to the next level because he was such a great player. Everyone knows who's Rob was. So and he proved it last year. He can be a good coach too, and I'm so excited to play for him. And obviously, it's a little bit sad to see Bob goes because obviously the relationship that I had with him, he was such a good coach for me, and something that I always say I will be forever grateful to him because Bob was the one like who made me like one of the top striker in the league. So it's something that I have to give that to him, and yeah, I'm so excited. There's still some like friends that still playing there, like Robbie, Danny, Junior, Eto, Ilal. So I'm excited and I can't wait.
So, speaking of Vincent, have you talked to him as far as like how he plans to utilize you this season? If it's going to be the same as you were utilized in 2023, or is like we don't know yet what the system's going to look like under Rob. So just curious if you guys have talked about what your role is going to be this season and if it's any different than 2023.
Yeah, like a couple days ago, and it's technically the same role that I have to play, to score goals. So he's gonna help me like to find a way like to create a space, like to complete my game. That's one of the reasons I say like he's that guy who can bring my game to the next level. So I know that in a couple days we will start doing stuff. So I can't wait to work with him.
Yeah. We when we mentioned that you were going to be on the show, one of the top questions that we got, Chico, was where did the Cornholio celebration come from? So I guess my question to you is first, do you recognize it as being called the Cornholio celebration from Beavis and Butthead? And where did that come from, man?
Listen, that was the game against Tampa. I remember that was the home game in Rhode Island. And I remember that defender was pulling my jersey like every time. He was so annoying. When I scored the goal, I walked through him. I was like, "Do you need my jersey?" Like I was just like pull it up, and and people like it. I was like, "All right." So I thought that wasn't nice in that time. That wasn't nice from me, but. It's a game, so people like it. I was all right. I just have to.
You got to do what you got to do when you're on the field to get in their heads, man.
Do you have any celebrations that you're working on for this season?
It's gonna be a lot of celebrations, so I don't know. I still have time to think about it, So
good answer. Good answer.
Love it.
There it goes. Yeah. on the concept of the jersey, just real quick, I know that when you were here last time, you wore number 9 and, was really effective. When you went to Rhode Island, you wore number 10. Have you picked a number yet? Do you know what you're going to wear this season?
I have to stay with the number 9,
There we go.
That's my number over there. So.
All right. Love it. So Chico, I mean, you talk about Pittsburgh as being home, and I think a lot of the fans that know you know that you've got a lot of close connections, but you've also called soccer a home. What makes soccer, playing soccer, watching soccer, but being a player and doing that for your career, what makes that so special for you?
Steve, that's a good question, I'm really grateful for everything I've done here. You know, because of soccer. Soccer gave me everything. Because of soccer, I met such a great people. I connect with the city, and I had a family here because of soccer, and it's something that I can't thank enough. You know, I can't thank enough, and the only thing I can do is just to make people proud, make my city proud, and keep fighting for my city. You know.
Love it.
Chico, I know that anytime we ask any of the players, you know, what's your goal for 2026? Everyone says to win a championship, and like obviously that's going to be the goal for the team. I'm curious, just personally, you're coming back to Pittsburgh, a team that you left a massive mark on in a positive way. So if you were to finish this sentence for me, how would you finish it? So if I said the 2026 season will be a success for me personally, if ... How would you finish that sentence?
If the team win the championship.
Oh, come on. But like, are you like the type of person that will set like personal goals for yourself where you're like, I want to hit 15 goals this season, or I want to get so many assists, or I want to get so many goals off of headers or things like that? Or are you just like, I'm going to go out one game at a time and perform and see where that takes me?
Hey, the goal is the championship. That's the only thing that I don't have in my CV right now. So, you know.
It's fair.
Yeah.
It's fair.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
We can't argue, but
Yeah. Well, Chico, I will tell you, we want to be respectful of your time. I think we are all collectively thrilled that you are back. I think there were rumors floating around for a while now that this could happen, and I think everyone was just through the roof. So from all of the fans, super glad that you're here, man. Welcome home, and really looking forward to seeing you take the field here in just a few weeks, man. You guys start preseason, so it's going to be fun.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Good to
Chico.
see
Have a
you,
good
man.
night.
Thanks.
Bye.
Well, that's Chico. As always, we appreciate talking to him. We're going to bring Justin in. Justin, how's it going, man?
Oh, you're muted.
You're muted. Yeah, sorry. Also, before Justin goes, apologies. I know there were some technical echoes and stuff early on with Chico's recording. I'll try to see if I can fix that in post, but apologies for that. Justin, what's good, man?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm glad to be here. And if there's anybody that I could play second fiddle to, it's Chico.
It's
So
Chico.
Our second very important guest, or just as important as Chico.
I don't mind playing second guest on the show tonight.
Justin, we haven't talked to you about, the news came out right before the last episode that we did, that Chico was coming back. You haven't shared your thoughts. I was trying to ask it away, and Josh was like, don't be so harsh. Just like why he did so well in 2023, and then Rhode Island, there was a bit of a drop off. What are your thoughts on bringing Chico back?
Yeah, I think there's a real thing about home and like where you find home and that sort of thing. And I know that's all very like theoretical and ethereal, but I think there's when you feel comfortable in a place, everything kind of clicks for you. And I feel like that if that's the case with him and as he just talked about, feeling at home in Pittsburgh and wanting to be here, you want a player that wants to play for your team. And if he wants to play for the team, then I think things are going to click for him in a different way than they have the last 2 years. So I'm excited about bringing him back. He's for sure a goal scoring threat, and hopefully he can bring that back to Pittsburgh this season.
Steve, I know personally you're a big fan of Chico. I know that you guys have a good relationship off the field, as he does with many fans, which is great. But after talking to him, now that he's back, has that cemented in your mind that like this is going to be a good season, or are you still like, we'll see? That's just Chico.
No, I mean it's going to be a good season. I mean, I Justin, Chico talked about it, right? Like being in the place that is home makes a big difference. I mean, look, like we know, like Danny is one of his closest friends. He was in Danny's wedding, right? Like
Yeah.
that says a lot about the environment that he's going to be in. But it's just like, I mean, yeah, like he was, I think, the only player that, like, not that he wasn't disappointed with the performance from Rhode Island after the playoff loss here at Highmark, right? But it was just like he was thrilled to be back home and play in front of the people that he knows loves him so much. And so that to me spoke volumes. And it's like, yeah, like we just knocked you out of the playoffs and you're still like having a blast talking to all the people that you knew for the past 5 years. And so I think that makes a big difference. And get the ball to his feet, let him do what he's going to do. I think with what we're expecting to see with Vincent's coaching, that it'll be a little bit more progressive in the final third, that's just going to do good things for Albert. And I'm excited. I think he's got a chance to be right back up at the top of the goal scoring charts again. So yes, that's his actual first name. Josh.
I get it. It's just I've never heard anyone call him Albert, and it was just like a weird, like it took me out of it. Like,
it felt weird saying it, to be honest.
Albert. Did he do something wrong?
I used to always say it when I was mad at him when I was watching the games. It was like if he missed a shot, it was like, "Come on, Albert."
I mean, just to further hammer home the whole home concept, Josh, he used to come hang out with the Steel Army when he was in town, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's been to gatherings with us, like All Hounds Eve and that kind of stuff, and it's just like he's a great guy. Obviously, we all know that. And his like physical home is in Pittsburgh, like not just like I love being in Pittsburgh, it's my home. It's like no, his like the place he owns is in Pittsburgh. His life is in Pittsburgh. So like there is something to be said about that. And there is, I do expect that to have a big, factor into this. But at the same time, I don't think we should all be like 20 goals. Here we go. It's like, no, that was a insane hell of a season for him. I'm not going to be sad if we don't get another 20 goals out of Dikwa this season. Like I do expect him to do better than he ever did in Rhode Island. And I think that is very possible and likely. But I don't want to have like the bar set so high that anything less than 20 goals is going to be a disappointment. Because I don't think that's true. I think, I'm looking at like 10, 15 goals would be awesome. But we'll see.
Well, and Justin, to flash back to 2023, I distinctly remember us having conversations where it's like our goals were only coming from Dikwa. So like, yes, he got 20, but we don't want to be in a system where we're relying so much on one guy. If he gets 20 and we have like 2 or 3 guys that get 10 plus, we're going to be really happy. But like, I don't think we can just lean on him entirely, right?
No, and that's where I think you got to build an attack that you can attack different ways. And when a team shuts one player down, you can go somewhere else and you can figure out how to create chances through multiple people and multiple avenues. And so, yeah, that's what I'm hoping for the season for sure.
Yeah. Well, guys, in addition to Chico coming on, I know that we did announce another signing this past week. Defender Victor Souza. He spent 3 years in MLS Next Pro in the New England Revolution system. Grew up playing with the NYCFC Academy. Seems to be a strong defender, big aerial threat on corners. This guy seems to be kind of a quintessential kind of coming up through the ranks, kind of what we've talked about, how we would like to see this thing happen in Pittsburgh, once we have a 2 team and all of that. Steve, when we have talked about what this team still needs, I think we've said that we have a starting 11-ish that like could actually take the field, which is something new for us. We typically don't know that until like 3 weeks into the preseason. Thoughts on adding sort of an aerial threat defender to this crew?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think this is great, right? Like, I think the big question in my mind all offseason is what is the formation going to look like under Vincent? No idea, right? Like, is he going to stick kind of with that back 3? Is he going to go to a back 4? I think that Souza looks like a guy that I think gives him a lot of flexibility to do different things at different times. But I think more than that, what is exciting about a signing like this is I've called for it for years that we want competition at every position on the field, and not that competition to be hitting in the last month of the season when the first year's guys out of college are finally finding their feet in the league for the most part, right? Like there are some exceptions to that, and we've seen that. But that for the most part, like it takes those guys a long time. This is a guy that has played professionally for a few seasons, and he's joining 3 other center backs that all have a lot of professional experience or have shown that with limited professional experience, they're really good. And so it adds a lot of competition to that back line. And I am a huge fan of that.
Josh, what do you think?
That's good. I mean, I don't know much about this player, so I don't know exactly what to expect here. And I do think, though, like the fact that we have a starting 11 and like it's not necessarily what the starting 11 is going to look like for sure,
Right.
but like right now we do have all the positions filled in that we need to actually field a team is pretty cool. It's gonna be weird, but also something to keep in mind. Like we always talked about how Lily's teams would get a slow start and always felt like preseason was the first, third of the season was still preseason for a Lily's team. There's also a lot to be said about the fact that our schedule is always heavy on away games at the beginning of the season. And so like, I don't know. I don't know if we're still, if it's going to feel that much different this season. If we're not, getting 3 points every game or, drawing every single game, it's like, it's rough to start your season away for multiple games in a row. So I just keep that in mind. Don't freak out if we don't have a huge, start here.
Yeah. Justin, from a tactical perspective, one of the things that I think we were speculating a little bit about in our Mongol Slack was with adding a defender like this and the news that Bushy kind of shared last week about Vincent wanting to play out of the back a little bit more, have a keeper that likes the ball at his feet. If you were a betting man, would you say that maybe we go to a back 4 to sort of support that? Or do you think we stick with the back 3?
I could see it going either way. I think if I think we're going to a back 3, I think we go to a true back 3 and not a back 5. I think it ends up looking more like a 3-5-2 or 3-5-1-1 or so, something along those lines than what we've looked over the past couple of years, because I think with a healthy Brad Sample, with a healthy Jackson Walty, your next step playing out of the back is, and really a lot of times as a goalkeeper, your first pass is to one of your defensive midfielders who's dropping kind of between the center backs and giving you that next option to play for. And so I could see us going to something more along those lines, playing kind of a 2 holding midfielder sort of system. Now you can do that with a back 4 or a back 3, back 4. You can play that either way. But I do think we probably see 2 holding mids this year.
Yeah. Guys, any other thoughts? We have one other sort of team announcement, and then I want to talk about the preseason a little bit. But I guess any other thoughts on Souza or any of the other players that we've heard about so far this offseason?
Just, it's like, it feels so different that we're a couple weeks away from the preseason, but we've got 16 players and they all have played professionally before.
Yeah.
Like,
it also just feels weird not knowing what to expect. Like,
sure,
we've been with the same coach for so long that like you kind of, it's not that it's rote, but it's very much like you kind of know what's going to happen. Like, okay, this is how it's going to go. This is, you can place it all in your head and like with experience there. But with it being a whole new coach and like, I have no idea what to expect. So I'm excited for preseason. Really excited for preseason because I'm going to be able to go to at least 1 or 2 games, and I want to like just see what this team even looks like now.
Yeah. One of the things that will be interesting to see is how far this pendulum swings, because we've talked about for years, Bob was good at plucking college talent and, maybe 1 out of 5 hits. And like you end up with a Charles All or a Bradley Sample where it's just, or, even a Danny Griffin where they kind of hit the ground running and it's great. Is this team under Vis and Vincent going to swing the other way and go more pros? or is there still going to be some sprinkling of fresh college talent? Talking to Bushy, it sounds like his intention is, at least for the third keeper, to make them somebody that could be sent down to the USL2 team and get minutes, and maybe somebody that's potentially still in college in that case, or just out of college. So I don't think it's going to swing too far, but just something to watch for that could be interesting as this continues to develop. So
yeah, kind of continuing that thought. What I love about this Sousa signing is having been around MLS a little bit and having been around kind of what's happening at the next pro level, I really love the kind of false pressure that Next Pro puts on the players, because if you don't know how they work, they don't do draws. So they do a penalty shootout at the end of every match if it's a draw, and the winning team gets 2 points, the losing team gets a point. And so that creates just a lot of false pressure, real pressure, but it's not real. It's not the same as a tournament game. But I love that they put that on the players to like, hey, you can't lose this in the last couple of minutes, because like if you lose this, then you don't get points. If you maintain the tie, especially on a defender like Sousa, like if you maintain the tie, there's a chance we still get a point out of this game. And maybe even 2. If you lose this, then we get nothing. And so I do think it creates a lot of good pressure that molds players and builds them and that sort of thing. So I really do like this signing just for the mentality of some of the players that are coming out of that level of soccer.
Yeah, agreed. One of the other new additions to this team, Bushy did let slip last week. We did not know. And then we were like frantically all Googling this guy while we're talking to him. But the Hounds officially announced this past week that Adam Mitchell is going to be the assistant coach that's essentially going to take Vincent's spot as Vincent becomes the head coach. He is originally from Brighton, England. He has spent the past 7 years as an assistant coach at Duquesne. People who know him seem to absolutely love him, especially people who are from Duquesne and have seen him in action. As Bushy kind of shared with us, he is a stats guy. He looks at the numbers. He studies the numbers. I don't know if that means that we're going to get some form of like Moneyball in terms of how we're finding players and what we're looking for to fill roles, but it could be very interesting. Steve, your thoughts on bringing in somebody like Adam Mitchell as the assistant?
Yeah, I have tried to find a little bit about Adam. There's a little bit on Duquesne's website, but not enough for me to know much about like who he's going to be as a coach. But the characteristics that you talked about that you can find out there on him, it seems to me that's good, right? Like that's the organization saying, hey, like, without Bob Lilly, we need to be thinking about where we're going and how to get there. But we talked about it, right? Like we don't know what to expect with Rob as head coach, but it's a different approach of bringing in a guy that brings a really different skill set than I think we've ever seen in Pittsburgh. Someone that's going to look at the numbers and try to understand those things and help make decisions in that way. So I'm excited because even if this is abject failure, it's progress in the long term of like, hey, we're going to build things to be successful and we're going to find ways to do that. And we're not just going to be stuck in the same old ways of playing Moneyball, Lily Special, 1-0, grind out wins, right? Like we're looking to actually go out and win. And I like that because this is another signing or another contract for a coach that indicates that there's more happening behind the scenes than I think ever before.
And my understanding here is also that, like, from talking to other people in the front office, that he is stats driven, but he's also very much about like the on-field like analytics stuff. So like wearing the equipment underneath the jersey that tracks their heart rate and that kind of stuff, and looking into that and making sure you're paying attention to the vitals for subs and that kind of stuff. That's what they expect to be happening now. So we might actually see that push forward as far as technology that we're using, which is something that I feel like Bob probably just, he knew, he had that gut feeling about, I know when a player needs to be brought off and like, I don't need that type of stuff. So it's a different tactic and it's kind of like pushing us forward as far as that technology use. And I'm excited for that. I think that's a great move. And having someone, younger and able to use that tech is going to be helpful, I think.
Justin, your thoughts on all of this?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, the excitement around this particular move like goes back to something you said, that the people who know him love him. And, you know, I've seen tweets and stuff from Duquesne players and all that kind of stuff that like that, man, the people that know this guy love this guy. And I think that's indicative to me of the vibes that are happening around this organization right now and around the team and all that kind of stuff, that I just feel like they want, you know, a player's coach. They want a player's coach. And even Dikwa, I love Dikwa saying like, hey, listen, Rob's going to help me be a better player. He's been successful in this league. He's going to figure out how to help me open up space. He's going to figure out how to help me create chances. He's going to help me figure, like, Dikwa, of all the people in this league, Dikwa could have the, I know how to play in the USL. I figured out the USL. I've won the goal. Like, he could do that, but he's like, no, Rob's going to help me figure it out. And I assume that people who feel the same way about Adam, that Adam's going to help me figure it out and all that kind of stuff. And that's just, I think, the vibes you want right now. And, you know, who knows what the season is going to look like? Who knows what the format, all that kind of stuff. But you want guys that people want to play for. And that's what it feels like is happening with the coaching staff right now.
Yeah. I think what I'll say about this is I'm excited. I think I'll echo everything that you guys said, but I think what this sort of encapsulates for me is this offseason just keeps being like pleasant surprise after pleasant surprise. I think that having followed this team for over a decade now, covering this team for over a decade now, I think we all got very used to a certain way of operating. And it just seems like with every press release, with everything that's come out this offseason, there's been something that we're like, oh, this is talking about all the players now. Okay, that's interesting. Or, oh, they actually did sign Vincent. Okay, we were hoping, but like didn't actually know if that would happen. Then Dikwa comes back. And I was fully expecting from an assistant coach perspective that they would just promote somebody from internally, which I would like, I think I'd be okay with. But the decision to go outside of the organization and find a skill set that they feel that we need, that somebody within the organization may not have, is just yet another pleasant surprise. Whether or not it works out, I think it's just every little thing is just like, okay, this is headed in a different direction. This is kind of new. So I think that's what I'm most excited about, is that just keeps happening. And even you know, DG and Robbie getting 2+1 deals. I don't think I was expecting that at all. I thought it was going to just be another 1-1, even though we know how valuable they are. But they're both getting older. You never know. And it's just, you know, yeah, I've been happily surprised. So, yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see how Coach Adam does here, especially as the preseason kicks off here in 2 weeks. They're going to start having actual sessions with the team, which that is going to segue, guys, right into the actual preseason schedule, which the Hounds announced this past week. So essentially, we will be it's funny because they actually called out when we're going to be playing at Montour versus at Highmark. I think they just kind of assume like, okay, the weather's going to be crappy and we're just going to buckle up for that. But we're going to play the Richmond Kickers on February 2nd at Montour. Then we're going to go to Indy 11 on February 6th. Loudon is going to come and play us at Montour on the 13th. Lexington will be at Highmark Stadium on February 21st. West Virginia will come on the 27th. And then, as has become tradition, on the 28th, we will go to Ambrose Field and play the University of Pittsburgh. Justin, your immediate thoughts on this schedule?
Yeah, it was funny because you were just going on about pleasant surprise after pleasant surprise. An MLS team on that schedule would have been icing on the cake. You know what I mean? But no, I think it's a good schedule. Lexington is a team I'm really interested in this season coming up, and you know, as kind of has been talked around the USL, like nobody's spending a ton of money except for Lexington.
Except for Lexington,
you know, they're spending a ton of money and buying player after player and MLS player after, you know, and so it will be really interesting to see that team and kind of how they're forming, how they're coming together. So I'm excited about that game, and then Pitt's always fun. So it's a fun schedule. I just wish there was an MLS team on it.
Josh, you mentioned trying to go to a game. I think Liz insinuated you're going to one at Montour. Have you guys picked out which one you're going to?
I mean, we are for sure going to one of the last games there.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that it's going to be probably the Steel Army AGM.
Yeah.
No announcements there yet, though. So there will be that one, and then I just figure we'll make it out to at least one other one. I don't know how that's going to work with Montour. I'm guessing that they're cool with people showing up, but should probably find that out.
Yeah.
And then also there was a little bit of confusion because I think the website still said, or like one of their posts still said, like it will be at Highmark unless there's a weather issue that will be in Montour. So I don't know if that's the case for those ones as well that say Montour on the schedule, but we'll see. Or we also usually go to that Pittsburgh one as well, the one at the Pitt University
At Ambrose, yeah.
Yeah.
I will reach out to Grubba and see if there is any restrictions on people going to Montour. I'm assuming it would just be you're up around the top, watching down below, but who knows? We'll see. Steve, anything missing on here or anything that you're really excited to see?
I mean, hey, like a preseason game on my birthday, I'm going. Why not? I'll be driving home from work anyway, so swing by Montour. It sounds good. To me, I think the big surprise is WVU and Pitt being back-to-back days. That is insane. But I also get it, and also kind of why I think like that's why we don't see an MLS team on there, because the organization was focused on everything from winning the championship. And so, you've got a lot less time to focus on some of the other things that you usually not only didn't have a championship to celebrate and talk about with your fans and do all sorts of things. Historically, you've had another 3 weeks of off season to work with, and you're not going through all the other changes, right? So this year, I don't care, right? Like it's more about where we're going in the future, and let's go show well with our strong core of players and bring in some younger players that can add to that and have a good season.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, that West Virginia and Pitt game, they're not even 24 hours apart. We play West Virginia at Highmark at 7 p.m., and we're going to be at Pitt the next day at 6 p.m. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how we filled a team for those two. But yeah.
Ideally, what we should see, though, is like we should see that we have enough players to basically, instead of doing the hockey change in the middle of the game, one day we have them out on the field for the whole 90. And then the next game they have like but the other players, the bench players on the team for the whole 90, which would be awesome.
Yeah, A Heller 412 in the comments just said probably two different squads entirely for those two. I think we'd hope so. If we have, if we got 22 players that we can make that happen, that would be great. And then
have we ever had 22 players in the preseason?
We've had them around.
Yes,
unnamed trialist.
Unnamed trialist number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yes.
That'll be the other thing that'll be interesting is once they start preseason here at the end of the month, are we going to get names or are they going to keep that tradition of unnamed trialist?
I mean, that was a Lily thing that he was so adamant that not be published for reasons.
I mean, there's some smart reasons though, but not wanting the players to get sniped and for other teams to take them. I understand the reasoning, but it will be interesting to see what happens.
Sure. But it's just like, it's different, right? Like we don't know. It's again, that whole transition that maybe we will know, or maybe it won't be published, but we'll get some names like kind of behind the scenes, which I think is more likely.
Yeah,
fair.
One other bit of news, guys. Peter brought it up here in the chat, a bit unrelated since it's NWSL/Riveters, but congrats to Tessa for signing with Chicago. Obviously, massive news. We had talked about this a little bit, maybe a few weeks ago, where we were talking about the Riveters and how because they were re-signing college players, it was pretty evident that they weren't going to become a Super League team this season. Bushy told us last week he's fully expecting them to be a Super League team at some point or step up a level. But when you do that, then your best players that are graduating are likely going to go play somewhere else pro. So I think it became pretty clear to us that Tessa wouldn't be back. Justin, your thoughts on Tessa going to Chicago?
Yeah, I was gonna say that's actually a really fun one for me. Thinking about it, because if you don't know, the NWSL maybe a year or two ago got rid of the draft, and so they don't have a college draft anymore. And so all the signings that are done out of college are pure free agency. You pick where you want to go, or teams come, And so it says something to me that Chicago went out and got Tessa, because it's not like, oh, I'll just pick a random player from some college and then they'll come in and try out and all that kind of stuff. It was no, like, we want Tessa and we want her to sign with us. And so they went out and got her. So they obviously feel like they need her skill set and what she can bring to a team and all of that. And, it's like I said on our Slack channel, it's going to be really fun. The first Gotham Chicago game, with Sarah Shapansky taking up a spot in the middle of the Gotham midfield, playing against Tessa. So it'll be really fun to watch that game and see two RDA alums go at it on the NWSL level.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
And I know that there have been a number of signings that have been announced for the Riveters. We will do a Riveter-specific show. I think, to Bushy's point last week again, their season starts like 4 months from now. So, we're trying to be a little patient, spend a little more time on the guys because they are starting, soon. But we will circle back and do some fun stuff for the Riveters, too, because that is a huge part of all of this. So, guys, I think that's it for the news this week. Anything else that you guys wanted to talk about?
I can't believe preseason is so soon. This is wild.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Yeah.
No rest for the weary, man.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's it from us then. Appreciate all of you for joining us live, for listening, for watching. A massive thanks to Chico for joining us from the basement of a home in Pittsburgh. Again, apologies for any sort of technical issues that you might have had early on. So excited that he's back. So excited for everything to get started with the guys. This is going to be so much fun. Thank you, everybody. We will be back with more Hounds and Riveters content for you very, very soon.
Later.
See ya.
Yeah.